Good morning, everyone. My name is Samantha Becotte. I'm the president of the Saskatchewan Teachers Federation, and I'm joining you here today from Treaty 6 territory in the traditional lands of the Métis. As you would have received in our press release this morning, on Monday, March 4th, we will be holding a one-day rotating strike with teachers from Holy Family Catholic School Division, Prairie South School Division, Regina Public School Division, Regina Catholic School Division, Southeast Cornerstone School Division, and the schools within the Conseil des Écoles Franciscois and the Saskatchewan Distance Learning Corporation within the geographic areas of the school divisions above. Yesterday, I shared with you numbers from our Tell Them Tuesday platform over from the beginning of January until the end of February. And at that point yesterday, we had reached 110,000 emails and phone calls that have gone to elected officials talking about the needs of students in our classrooms. These emails are not just from teachers, they are from parents and concerned members of Saskatchewan who know that education is the best investment that this government can make and know that we are on the wrong course of action. We need government to come to the table ready to make long-term commitments that improve the conditions in our classroom across the province. As of this morning, that number is over 126,000 emails that have gone out to MLAs, the Minister of Education, the Premier of this province, and now as well, yesterday's email was being sent to boards of education across the province, the board chairs, as well as the provincial executive from the Saskatchewan School Boards Association. They need to change their position. They need to make long-term commitments with teachers where they can be held accountable to the funding for education, as well as the decisions around those funding, ensuring that the funds and the resources are directed to classrooms where they will best meet the needs of students across the province. These are real people who have signed up to Tell Them Tuesday. And despite that, we've heard from one board of education that they've identified these emails as spam and have now blocked the Tell Them Tuesday system and communication from their email servers. They need to be listening to the people of Saskatchewan. They need to be making decisions that meet the interests and are in the best interests of kids across the province. It is their responsibility to be listening and responding to the needs of Saskatchewan people. So thank you for joining us here this morning. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have. Moira.
Hi, good morning. Thanks for this. What evidence or what gave you the impression that they had blocked the email server and why that decision was made?
Well, we actually received communication from the school division saying that they had blocked emails and that they appeared to be spam. As the Tell Them Tuesday platform is set up with a template letter that describes the interests of teachers as well as students and parents, that template can be changed and adjusted. But they said that other than the change of name, they viewed it as spam and decided to block any incoming mail coming from that Tell Them Tuesday domain.
Okay, and regarding the job action that you just announced for Monday, it's the first day of the legislature as well. What was the strategy in not announcing that, I guess chronologically with the extracurricular job action starting Tuesday, and what escalation are we going to see next week?
That's a great question. As I have said, all of these decisions are strategic. We only require a 48-hour notice for providing or before announcing any job action or having any job action. And so today's announcement falls even extended beyond that 48 hours to provide notice for Monday. We decided as well that the countdown for the province-wide withdrawal of voluntary services on Tuesday and Wednesday, we were providing additional notice again to allow government the opportunity to review their mandate and provide their government bargaining team with the authority to engage in conversations around class size and classroom complexity at the bargaining table. And again, that is the place where government and school boards can be held accountable to the funding and the decisions around where the supports are best allocated. These can be local decisions. It is not looking at removing any responsibility from a local school board. It is simply about providing accountability on government and on school boards to ensure that the experiences of students and teachers in classrooms across the province are going to improve. And so we continue to look at how we can get government back to the table along with school board trustees, and what actions are going to be necessary. Ultimately, we don't want to have to take any of these actions. We would love government to communicate with us, or the GTBC to communicate with us, that they have a renewed mandate. And at that time, when they're willing and truly committed to having the conversations around the bargaining table, we'd be happy to withdraw any of our sanction action and get back to the table and get an agreement.
Thanks. And just one last question. I want to clarify the terms of the extracurricular withdrawal starting on Tuesday. You've announced the 2 days, but the impression my colleagues and I got was that this is essentially a threat or a promise of an indefinite withdrawal of extracurriculars until government makes a concession. Is that correct?
Well, through all of our communications, we have talked about the potential of actions escalating, and we have communicated very clearly that if government doesn't start taking this process seriously, that actions will escalate. So Monday, Tuesday is 2 days, which could be the start of a longer term withdrawal. But like I've said, we do not want it to get to that point. We want government to start taking the bargaining process seriously. And we want to make sure that students are getting the supports that they need through long-term, predictable and sustainable funding, and guaranteed over the longer period of time, so that it's not just 1 year investments where resources go up and down, but over an extended period of time so that students get meaningful help and they can thrive in their schools.
Thanks.
Thank you. Alec?
Hi, Samantha. I suppose on Monday, is it just going to be Regina and area teachers down there, or are you expecting there to be students down there as well with you folks?
Well, we welcome anyone to join us on Monday at the legislature to call on government. We know that it isn't just teachers who want to see improvements to the supports that are available in schools and the supports that are available to students. We have heard from students, we have heard from parents, we have heard from community members, business owners, religious groups about the need to have predictable and sustainable funding and better supports and resources in schools so that students can have their needs met. So I wouldn't be surprised if others end up coming to join us, and we would definitely welcome and invite them to come and join us at the legislature on Monday morning. And as well, if they're not able to come down and make it there, make sure that their voice is heard, make sure that their elected representatives, whether it's their MLA, the Minister of Education, or the Premier of Saskatchewan, is listening, as well as those locally elected school board trustees. They need to be advocating, and they have advocated for predictable and sustainable funding. But just because we're in a bargaining realm doesn't mean their advocacy should stop. And if they don't feel comfortable doing it publicly, those local trustees should be communicating with their provincial representatives at the bargaining table to make sure that they are fighting for the best interests of kids as well.
Will you and other STF members be in the gallery during question period on Monday?
Well, we will see. I don't live in the Regina area. I've heard there's a little bit of concern in terms of potential weather on the weekend. I'm definitely going to do my best to be down there in Regina and hopefully being able to stand in solidarity with teachers that are down at the legislature. And I definitely look forward to hearing what comes through in question period, whether I'm inside the building or listening from the feeds outside.
Cool. Thanks. Take care.
Thank you. Eric?
Hi, Samantha. As we've seen this job action sort of escalate and kind of be an everyday schedule here, we're hearing more and more from students that they're concerned, whether it be, missing extracurriculars or just limited access to teachers or educational supports for learning, particularly among grade 12 students. I guess just what would you say to those students coming forward with those concerns?
We share those concerns. As I've said, we do not want to be taking these actions. As much as students enjoy the opportunities that teachers provide through their voluntary services, the teachers who provide those services love providing them as well. They love the experiences both inside and outside of the classrooms. But unfortunately, the core of our work is instruction and is providing student support and ensuring that they're able to meet those curricular outcomes within their classes. And unfortunately, because of now a decade of underfunding that we have experienced, teachers are being put into an impossible situation where they cannot simply meet the needs of students in their classrooms. So those grade 12 students that you referenced, they have experienced year after year after year, essentially from kindergarten, a decline of supports available. So we recognize that these actions we're taking right now do create a disruption, but they have experienced a disruption in their education and a decline in the supports that are available in their schools over the last 10 years. And teachers are taking a stand to say, we cannot continue to fill the gaps any longer. We have tried to bring this forward and have it addressed in our last 2 rounds of collective bargaining, as well as advocacy that has happened outside of the bargaining process. And government has refused to fulfill their responsibility in ensuring that predictable and sustainable funding. And we're saying it cannot continue any longer. It is not fair for the students of our province to have to suffer because of the decisions of our government and the lack of priority this government places on public education and on the needs of our students and our children.
Thank you.
Thank you. Larissa?
Hi, thanks for taking my question. So picket lines in Regina in past actions have very explicitly made the conscious decision not to cross onto legislative grounds. That, of course, is going to be changing on Monday with folks gathering in front of the Legislative Assembly. Can you speak to why that change in tactic?
Well, government, as I said, are not taking the process seriously. They are ignoring the actions that teachers have been taking so far, being out on Albert Street and across the province, taking a stand and taking action. And not only the actions of teachers, they are ignoring the calls from students, from parents, from community members that I've been talking about with Tell Them Tuesday. Like I said, almost 130,000 emails in 2 months. I'm guessing that those are unprecedented numbers of communication going to this government, and they are ignoring it. They draw lines in the sand, and they refuse to acknowledge their part and their responsibility to ensure that our students are having their needs met. So in our communication that we shared earlier, we talked about an escalation of action. This is just a next step in that escalation.
Sure. And just as a follow-up, are you expecting the volume of folks coming on Monday to the Legislative Building to be close to or as large as what we saw in April with the Rally for Education?
Well, we will see. I know whether in April, where we had that massive rally in front of the legislature, bringing up to 4,000 people that were there, is going to be a little bit different than on Monday. But the cold hasn't bothered us before. I don't think that it's going to bother us on Monday. I look forward to seeing the turnout, not just of teachers, but like I said, members of the public that are concerned about the state of education here in Saskatchewan and are concerned about the intransigence from this government in the bargaining process and their refusal to make long-term commitments where they can be held accountable. So I look forward to seeing what that turnout is, and I expect it to be large. I don't know if it will be as big, but like I said, I hope to see a lot of people there, not just teachers, but members of the public too.
Great. Thank you, Samantha.
Thank you. Okay, so not seeing any other hands up or any questions in the chat again. I just want to share my thanks to all of you for continuing to take your time to come and join us for these press conferences and asking very good questions to me, but also to those elected officials. We need to hold them accountable. We need to make sure that they are fulfilling their responsibilities, and they cannot continue to ignore this problem. They cannot continue to ignore our children, our students in Saskatchewan schools, and they cannot continue to ignore the 130,000 people who have communicated with government that public education is a priority. They call it spam. And that's completely absurd. These are real people with real concerns, and they need to be listened to, and government needs to start responding. So thank you for joining us here today, and I hope you have a great rest of your day and a great weekend.